Bernard-Henri Lévy is here. He is a French author and philosopher and my friend. He has been a champion of the Libyan revolution and noted for that. His movie, The Oath of Tobruk, depicted that struggle. It was part of the official selection at the Cannes Film Festival in 2012. Today, he wrote in the Daily Beast that he might be unwelcome in Libya. He's also been a vocal supporter of the French intervention in Mali and also supports action in Syria. I am pleased to have him back at this table. Welcome. Great to see you. Since the overthrow of Gaddafi, how has Libya progressed?
In the good sense, Libya is probably the only of the three countries who had a revolution who is in the process of democracy. The radical Islamists were beaten in Libya. They took power in Egypt, they took power in Tunisia. They were electorally beaten last July in Tripoli. The prime minister of today in Libya is Mr. Ali Zaidan,
right,
a close friend of mine, a Muslim, but enlightened, Democrat, friend of the West, and he defeated the Islamists. So Libya is in the good path.
You made a film which has not been released in America yet, which chronicled you and your appeal to President Sarkozy to get involved, and he did. It's called The Oath of Tobruk, and we'll see part of that now. And I'll take a look at this. This is where your friend, Mustafa, yes, your friend, explains why the intervention changed the Libyan perception of the West. Here it is.
What happened in Libya is that the West, the Christian, Jewish, Western society, civilization, stood by the people against a tyrant, against a regime. Al-Qaeda builds its logic on saying that the West is supporting tyrants and oppressors against the people. This is why let's fight the West. Now, what happened in Libya is the opposite.
I call him in an article, a recent article in the Daily Beast, the
Article that appeared this morning.
The prince of the Shebabs of Cyrenaica. He was the man in charge of all the civilians fighting against Gaddafi, learning how to use weapons and so on. And now, at the moment when we are speaking, he is in charge of disarming the militias. He's a very great man. I must say, he's a Muslim, not completely moderate. He's close to Muslim brothers. That is what makes interesting what he has just said. For the first time, you have a Muslim brother, let's say, even if he's not really, who discovered that the West was not an ontological enemy, a natural enemy. For the first time, such a man discovered that there was not a fatality of the West being against an Arab people. For the first time, he discovered that there was a natural bridge between men and women of good faith, of goodwill, and of peace. This is a revolution. As he says, since ages, the West was perceived as the friend of dictators. For the first time, the West was perceived as the friend of a people. And that is the great achievement of Mrs. Clinton, Mr. Sarkozy, Mr. Cameron, and those who helped them to achieve what they did.
Okay. So after you helped them in getting Sarkozy involved and then what turned out in Libya as it did, what has been your relationship with Libya other than making this film, which has not been seen in Libya? Why is that?
I don't know. This is a real question which I raise in the Daily Beast of this morning. My relationship are great with Ali Zaidan, the Prime Minister, who is one of the heroes of Oath of Tobruk. He is one of the leading part of the movie. My relationship with even some very extreme Islamists are not bad. Some of them protected me on the front lines of Ashdabiyah or Jebel Nafousa. But I suppose, I'm sure, that there is in Libya today, as everywhere in the Muslim world, a war, not between the West and the rest, but between Islam and Islam, between moderate Islam and extremist Islam. And I believe that for the extremists, I might be one of the little stake of the conflict. It is possible that there are some people in Tripoli and in Benghazi who do not want to watch a movie where it is proved what Mustafa al-Zaghezli just said, that a Westerner, a French, and a Jew gave so much of himself, so much of his energy to help these people to liberate from a dictatorship. Maybe they don't want to see that because it puts a mess in their vision of the world. People don't like, stupid people, don't like their vision of the world to be disturbed. They like to be right from eternity. And this film, The Oath of Tobruk, which Harvey Weinstein, by the way, bought for America, and I'm very grateful to him for that, and I think one day it will be shown here. This film shows that the Al-Qaeda logic, West against Arabs, is a stupid logic, that we can act in another way. We can act with handled to an Arab people.
All right, this controversy which you've just spoken to came to my attention several days ago, in which there was a story, said prominent Jew, banned from Libya he have made, quote, one of the most outspoken advocates for the Western effort to rid Libya of the great loon is now barred from entering the country because he is a Jew. It goes on to suggest, that there was an invitation for you and President Sarkozy, former President Sarkozy, to come to Libya. And then you were, what, disinvited?
No.
What happened?
No. There was an invitation extended to Nicolas Sarkozy and myself, not only because of the beginning of the war, but because of all that was done during all the period. I could not attend. This is the fact. I could not attend because I had a program. But it seems that there are in Tripoli, to quote him, the mayor of Tripoli, who would not have liked me to come in Libya. So I am not banned in Libya, not at all. The Prime Minister, again, the Prime Minister is the man whom you see on the board of my movie. I hope you will see it. On my right side, under the cross of Lorraine, which is the emblem of the Free French during the war against fascism. He's close to me. We just prayed on the graves of the French soldiers dead in Libya in 1942, 1943. He's my friend. He's the friend of France. He's the friend of the West. I'm not banned.
Okay, but
but I am probably, yes, banned by a minority of morons, extremists.
Okay, but let me just understand. Could you have gone to Libya with President Sarkozy? Then why did you choose not to go?
I did not choose. This is life. I had this day a program, and I had said to President Sarkozy a few days before that, unfortunately, I could not join him. Because I could not join him because of my schedule, because of my program.
Okay, this is the Daily Beast, and I'm trying to understand this. Bernard-Henri Lévy, how have I become an undesirable in Libya? This is the Daily Beast where you write for, and this is by you. Bernard-Henri Lévy fought tirelessly for Libya's liberation, so why does he suddenly feel unwelcome in the country he loves? All because of his religion. This is the Daily Beast.
I am not unwelcome. Last time I went, Daily Beast, okay. few months ago, I was back in Libya. I entered in the jail of the new power. I was the only one authorized to film the new jails and so on. I am not unwelcome at all. But there are some militias, those who probably killed Christopher Stevens, who believe that their best friends deserve to be their enemies. You have in Libya some people who do not stand the idea of one Christopher Stevens, or more modestly one Bernard-Henri Lévy, being their friend. They want a Manichaean world. They want a world in black and white. They want a world where between Christian and Jews on one side and Muslim on the other, it is a dramatic war. I don't believe that. I believe in peace and in extended hand, as Stevens did.
I'm quoting you.
Yeah.
This is March 27th, the Daily Beast.
Okay.
Okay? Today.
Yeah.
Quote, at first you're shocked. You run across a story in Rue 89, a French online newspaper, with the headline, BHL, the Jew will not accompany Sarkozy to Tripoli, and then it goes on to say, you, speaking in your words, you tell yourself that it's not possible, that you're having a bad dream, because no one's ever referred to you with or without the scare quotes as the Jew. You write to the editor. You tell him that the article is a crock. You've not planned to make any such trip, and that the title, above all, is unworthy, or rather is worthy only of a modern version of Je suis partout?
Je suis partout, which was a
fascist paper.
a pro-Nazi paper in France.
The editor apologizes. The headline is changed to BHL will not accompany Sarkozy to Tripoli because he is Jewish. But the reporting, based on the same vague words, carelessly checked out and source remains unchanged. You note, in passing, you say, that the original title, the most injurious one, the one in which you were the Jew, and that remained online for hours, provoked no reaction, no protest, no sign of surprise or indignation from any quarter.
This, alas, has nothing to do with Libya.
Okay.
It is a story between France and France. Between this website, Rue 89,
yeah.
I'm sorry to make advertisement for them in America, but it's a fact. They dared to title like this. They dared to call me the Jew, as nobody did about me, nor about any Jewish French since 60 years. It's a French newspaper website who dared to do that. And this is a shame. It has nothing to do with Libya. It has to do with France. And the fact that in France, during this day, nobody protested, nobody said, you cannot call Bernard-Henri Lévy the Jew, is a bad sign about the state of affairs in my country, in France of today. But it is not Libya, it's France.
You say you haven't heard for a while now from Mustafa el-Sagazili, leader of the fighters of Trineka, with whom you shared, you're sure, because again, you filmed it, the desire to dispel the awful specter of the war of civilizations. Or from Abdel Hakim al-Assadi, the hardened Islamic right. You haven't heard from them. Why?
Because I don't know. I am reduced to hypothesis.
Hypothesis, yes.
Hypothesis. Maybe, I don't know, they feel Abdul Hakim al-Assadi, the man you just quoted, is close to the most extreme Islamist in Libya. I met him during the war. We had a very harsh, strong, but man-to-man conversation, one night of conversation. What it means to be a Jew, what it means to be a Muslim, and so on. We had a discussion, a frank one, as we should always have. We disagree on everything, but we had this conversation. The fact is that since a few months, I have no news. So I suppose that there is today, in the atmosphere of this new Libya, which is where you have a dividing line between the Democrats on one side, the Qaddafists on the other side, and those who wish to replace Qaddafiism dictatorship by another dictatorship under the flag of Islam, you have a strong conflict. You have a war, a civil, ideological war.
Within Islam.
Within Islam. The real clash of civilization is not because it is Islam. It is within Islam.
Okay, but let me just stay with this, because this is important, and you wrote this today, and I assume wrote it out of concern and passion. Could it be that the report in the French online newspaper contained a grain of truth, you say? Could there be within the Tripoli city government officials irresponsible enough to have said the visit of a Jew might, in today's climate, cause tensions, unrest, or even the revival of this or that militia? The idea overwhelms you, fills you with sadness and anger, and telling yourself that this is the way things go in the war between the two Islams, a war about which you have so often spoken and in which you appear, you always refers to you, writing yourself, appear regularly. And like so many others to have become part of the stakes, far from bringing consolation, such ruminations just compound your sadness. At best, you feel strengthened in your resolve to carry on, both at home and in Libya, alongside your true Libyan friends. You know. But have you become an issue?
An issue. There are many more important issues than me. But I suppose, yes, that for...
And is it about, not about your religion, it's about what?
These people know that the role I played. They know that I provided concrete help to the fighters. They know that I was on the front lines with them. They know that I went to Misrata to fetch the generals of Misrata to bring them to Sarkozy. They know that. And they know that I'm a Jew. And these two things put together in some brains in Libya, as probably elsewhere, creates a real problem. But it is their problem, not mine.
Okay.
Me, I am happy of what I did. I am proud of what I did, and I did not do it in the hope of a retribution or in the hope of being grateful. I don't care. My personal ethics as a French, as a Westerner, and as a Jew is that you have to do what you have to do just because you have to do, not because you hope to people to say thank you to you. I just did what I had to do. Now happens what happens.
And so where do you put what you did in Libya in the scheme, in the decades of your own life? Because you have wanted to wade in on the side of causes you believed in and have impact before. Afghanistan being one example. The Balkans being another example. It worked in Libya. Where do you put the Libyan experience in all that you have done with your life?
First of all, what I did with others, and Oath of Tobruk, my movie, bears testimony of that, proves what a bunch of single men can do if they want. If they have energy, if they have goodwill, they can do a lot. First thing. Number two, since I am a teenager, I dream for the Democrat countries really being generous, really spreading democracy in an intelligent way. This is what in my country we call droit d'ingérence, right to intervene, for the first time, thanks to Sarkozy. Thanks to Sarkozy and thanks to Obama and Clinton, it worked. It failed in Bosnia, 200,000 deaths. It failed in Afghanistan. Commander Massoud, who appears in my movie, died 2 days before September 11.
At the beginning of your movie.
Yes, at the beginning. In Libya, it worked. So for me, what happened in Libya is a lifetime achievement, a personal achievement. So the mayor of Tripoli may believe that this puts a mess in his vision of the world. His vision. It is his problem.
Do you believe that it's simply the mayor of Tripoli and no one else that...
Of course not. He is not the mayor of Tripoli for nothing, in spite that he's not elected, by the way. But of course there are others. But what I can tell you is that when I go to Tripoli and to Benghazi, I feel at home. I feel with my brothers.
Do they tell you that you cannot come here? We think you shouldn't come here because of security reasons.
Of course not. You have some people in Libya who don't stand the idea of a Jew having taken such a part in their liberation. Again, it puts disorder of their way of thinking.
All right. This is from your film, The Oath of Tobruk. Here it is. One more clip. Roll tape.
يهودي ليس فيه مشكلة. الإشكالية هو ولاؤه وتعصبه لإسرائيل أكثر من بنيامين نتنياهو نفسه، وبالتالي هناك خطر حقيقي. يجب على المجلس الانتقالي أن ينتبه لهذا الرجل. هذا الرجل يأتي ويذهب إلى بنغازي، يأتي ويذهب إلى مصراتة، يجب أن يوقف تحركاته. ليس هناك ضغط، لا يقول لي أحد
وينقل رسائل من الرئيس ساركوزي إلى المجلس.
بالضبط، مستشار رئيس ساركوزي بالإمكان مجلس انتقالي أن يطلب بكل احترام من السيد ساركوزي بأن يبدل هذا المستشار. هذا الرجل ليس مرغوبا به لا في بنغازي ولا في مصراتة، ويجب أن يتم استبداله.
Poor man. If I had not gone from Misrata to Benghazi and from Jebel Nafousa to Misrata, maybe the war would have taken a little more time. If I went from one city to another one, it was to provide, to help the weapon given by France to go to Misrata and not to Benghazi. It was to implement the plan which was designed by Abdel Fattah Younes, the Libyan general, to open a second front. It was to take the chief militaries of Misrata out, to bring them to the west. That's why I did not do tourism from Misrata to Benghazi.
You put that in your film for a reason.
Yes, because I am a honest intellectual. I did not want in the film to show that the situation was all pink and all enlightened. This exists. I know that. Christopher Stevens was not killed just by bad chance. Of course it means something. And this guy, it means something too. You cannot go out of 42 years of dictatorship in a broken nation, in a stateless situation, without having such morons believing that somebody who is a Jew, what does he say, linked to Netanyahu, which I'm not linked to, going from one city to another. This is a part of Libya, but a little part. I remind you that Ali Zaidan and Mahmoud Jibril won the elections in last June. They achieved what did not happen in Egypt and in Tunisia. The moderate Islam is on power today in Tripoli and Benghazi.
When will you go back to Libya?
When I will go back? At least when my movie will be released. I hope it will arrive soon. The Oath of Tobruk, when it will be released in America, there will be an English version. I hope this one will go to Libya. This can be one reason. I might go to see my friend Ali Zaidan,
the Prime Minister.
Prime Minister.
Who came to see you when he came to France?
I came to see him at the hotel the very night of his arrival. This is what these people who write that I'm banned from Syria must understand. We are brothers of fight.
Banned from Libya.
Banned from Libya, yeah, from Libya. We are brothers of companions of fight. We went on all the hot places of the country during the war together. We did the 30 hours of travel from Malta to Misrata together, and so on. So I will come when I wish.
Thank you for coming here.
Thank you, Charlie.
Good to see you.